After forcing himself into 5th level, Jacob instantly reached the traveling speed of the nascent soul realm. Even though he was experiencing a burning sensation as if his body was being torn apart, he felt exhilaration when he flew into the sky as a dragon. Forming sword energies with his nature essence and piercing through the locked openings in his dragon core with sword energies, the newly formed openings started to absorb nature essence like crazy. Even the purple spirit killing net couldn't stop Jacob's dragon transformation process. Transforming into a dragon was a natural process for each dragon cultivator when 5th level was achieved. Even the primitive treasure from the 9-Dragon Palace couldn't stop such a natural event. Instantly, the wind and clouds surged up, while the essence within an area of 1,000 miles swarmed towards Jacob. With the purple spirit killing net wrapped around him, Jacob broke into the clouds and the high sky. Tens of thousands of chaotic lightning bolts crashed towards him from all directions. The dragon cultivators usually transformed into dragons in storms, since they were more sensitive to nature essence in such weather, and it provided perfect conditions for them to temper their dragon bodies with lightning. When tens of thousands of lightning bolts crashed towards Jacob, the first barrier between them was the purple spirit killing net. The 16 5th level elders who were controlling the purple spirit killing net didn't expect Jacob to transform into a dragon. Seeing him break into the clouds, they realized that he was trying to break the purple spirit killing net with the power of lightning bolts activated by his dragon transformation. The 16 elders who were hiding in the area turned into 16 black dragons, rushing into the high sky. It was dragons' innate ability to fly into the clouds and command wind and rain. Although heavenly lightning could harm the cultivators in their dragon forms wouldn't be affected as much. However, cultivators nowadays seldom appear in their dragon forms. They could only do so during their first transformation and when they encountered great enemies. Otherwise, they'd be severely punished by the dragon god shrine. Seeing Jacob trying to break off the purple spirit killing net with heavenly lightning, the elders from the South Atlantic had to break the rule and surround Jacob in their dragon forms. 16 dragons flying high up into the sky was a scene that was rarely seen before. The South Atlantic Dragon Clan was desperate. With a crackling sound, the overwhelming lightning bolts crashed towards Jacob, who was transforming into a dragon for the first time. The black clouds were suddenly lit up. In the car, Walter and Mila looked out of the window and saw a large stretch of lightning bolts across the sky above the sea. Mila had studied meteorology for dozens of years, but she had never seen such a strange sight. It seemed like some things were swimming in the clouds. Walter, who studied marine life, blinked his eyes hard while holding Mila in his arms. He looked at the sky in astonishment, forgetting about the imminent landslide around them. If he were right, those creatures in the clouds seemed to be the legendary dragons. According to Jacob's grandma's words, during storms they were usually heavenly dragons ascending into heaven. Walter never believed such stories before, but now. A loud thunder exploded in the sky, and the white lightning bolts spread quickly through the clouds. Rain poured down, and the clouds turned black again. The 2 5th level elders from South Atlantic who were attacking the car suddenly walked into the Death Gate Noah built around the car. As sly as Noah was, he wouldn't build only one red energy sphere. In fact, the car was surrounded by spirit stones. If the energy sphere were broken, the surrounding array formation would instantly be activated. The 2 cultivators who stepped into the Death Gate couldn't move for 1 hour. However, if 2 more 5th level cultivators came to attack, Noah would have no extra strength to deal with them. Struck by tens of thousands of lightning bolts, the purple spirit killing net became very fragile. Dizzily, Jacob made a desperate charge and finally broke the primitive treasure. He broke out of the net in the form of a small silver dragon. 160 sword energies formed 2 groups of colorful 5 elemental sword energies and surrounded him. From a distance, he looked like a colorful dragon. Using the Sword Shadow Scroll, Jacob forced himself into 5th level. In his dragon form, he could unleash the power of 5th level. 4 guard array formation. Hovering above the black clouds, Jacob used a higher level sword array formation. Each of the sword energies split into two, and those two turned into four. There were altogether 640 sword energies. The sword energies shot outward like blooming lotuses. Any creature close to that area would have pieces of its flesh cut off. The lotuses floated outward, and the sword energies formed a huge net, guarding Jacob, who was in the center, and attacking the enemies. It reached a state of offensive and defensive in one. However, Jacob didn't want to waste his time in this battle. Immediately, 604 sword energies crashed towards the first black dragon head-on. Four-guard array formation. Explode. The dense sword energies formed a huge spinning lotus and crashed towards the first black dragon. Unprepared, this fifth-level elder from South Atlantic in his black dragon form got half of his tail cut off by Jacob's sword energies. Screaming with pain, the black dragon dropped into the sea. Sitting in the car, Walter rubbed his eyes. He felt like he saw a huge object falling into the sea from the high sky, but he wasn't sure if he'd seen it correctly. Mila? Mila? Walter helped Mila up, then, disregarding the raging storm outside of the car, he opened the car door and ran to the side of the road. In the dark clouds, he saw more than a dozen huge, black dragons flying up and down the clouds, thousands of meters from the ground. Among the black dragons was a tiny silver dragon. Walter was speechless in astonishment. Holding an umbrella, Mila got out of the car anxiously. What? What did you see? Walter pointed his finger at the sky. As he was about to show her what he saw and explain incoherently, the dragons were suddenly concealed by the clouds. Under her umbrella, Mila looked in the direction Walter pointed, but she only saw black clouds. Let's get back into the car. The rescue team will be here soon. Mila pulled the speechless Walter back into the car. While they turned to walk back towards the car, another black dragon was cut down by Jacob. The dragon fell into the sea from the clouds, under the flash of lightning, and looked very clear. These elders all cultivated the black water scroll from the South Atlantic Dragon clan. However, it was still no match for Jacob's sword array formation made by his 5 elemental sword energies. In the blink of an eye, Jacob destroyed 2 5th-level elders. Each of the sword energies had the power of the 6th level. If these elders from South Atlantic didn't try to threaten the safety of his parents, Jacob wouldn't have forced open the openings in his dragon core and fought them at the risk of his life. His silver dragon form only had a length of about a few meters. However, the 640 sword energies covered an area of 500 meters around him. They were formed by nature essence, and they were all like mini missiles that could explode at any moment. Without scales or horns, it was called Chi. Jacob had transformed into a Chi dragon, or a hornless dragon, but the elders from South Atlantic were mature, scaled dragons. After losing 2 elders, the remaining 14 black dragons connected, forming a black grand array formation. Array formation versus array formation. The black grand array formation was built in the shape of the 6 southern Dipper stars and the Dragon Temple, and the primitive killing star was the core of the array. When it was launched, the array's killing power was magnificent. Jacob's 4-guard array formation used the sword energies as soldiers, while Jacob acted as the general. The sword energies surrounded him, both ready to defend and attack. It was also an array with strong killing power. The 14 black dragons intertwined with each other, while the black clouds tumbled around them. Jacob's sword energies pierced the black clouds like spears and emitted 5 colored lights. One side of the clouds got compressed, while the other side expanded slowly. The clouds exploded. While the sword energies shot outward, the small silver dragon flew higher into the sky. The 14 black dragons in the black grand array formation were bounced dozens of meters downward. The moment Jacob flew up, he threw out another sword array formation, the 3-heaven array formation. 320 sword energies shot towards one of the black dragons in all 3 directions, piercing its neck, middle section, and tail. Severely wounded, the 5th-level elder tumbled down, and his dragon tail created a massive crater, the depth of over 10 meters on the beach. 2 dragon array formation. Another 160 energy swords left 2 deep cuts on another black dragon's sides. 1 line array formation. 80 sword energies pierced through a black dragon's claw. Fundamental sword array formations: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Each elemental group contains 16 sword energies, and they dash towards the other black dragons, burning holes in their bodies. By now, Jacob had used up all his nature essence. Without even the strength to form a supporting sword energy, he dropped towards the road by the sea. As black dragons flew around in the clouds, a small silver dragon dropped from thousands of meters above the ground. It was a distinct view against the darkness in the background. "Dragon!" Walter, who was carefully observing the clouds, shouted.